OTL with Sheffield, with Sheffield, with Sheffield.
Detroit Sheffield is one and the same. Dig a little deeper, see how he got his name. People in Detroit already know nobody mess with the Sheffield though. A great bloodline, a man was born to stand for the people. Now you've been warned. Don't get it wrong, he intelligent. Add up the number where the money went. Schools closing, the housing bubble. With him on the case, they know they in trouble. Going to Flint to help their people. Ain't no color, stop living evil. Detroit, Sheffield, I one and the same. Dig a little deeper, see how he got his name. People in Detroit already know nobody mess with the Sheffield though. Don't
Who they talking about? Are we on the air? All right, we're live on the air. All right, that's the rapping mentor. That's our new jingle for the TV show. And he's really talking about my daddy. You know, Jimmy Settles is here. He knew my dad well, as I knew his father, Lefty Settles. And I heard a great story this past week, which I'll share with you. But people at Local 600 and Rouge, when I used to meet him, Jimmy, as a young man, said, "You the son of the gun." I said, "Who's the gun?" Is your daddy the gun? So you got that same kind of legacy. Jimmy Settles Jr.
Good morning.
Put the mic all the way up there. We just had that conversation. Don't be afraid. It won't bite you.
Good morning.
Hey, you know, you're more than a trade unionist. You're more than the vice president of the UAW. You're also a philanthropist. You're a person whose imprimatur and handprints are being felt across the city. In fact, even here at the Sheffield Center, I know one of the things I want to start with is this whole Motown Museum. I know you've been very involved meeting with Berry Gordy and others. Tell us what's going on with that and what you're doing.
Well, yeah, this week, I think it was a press release that we're going to do expansion of the Motown Museum, $50 million expansion. As you know, it's currently located right down the boulevard. And actually, a couple of years ago, I had a conversation with the granddaughter, Robin Terry, and at that time, she was in a quandary because they really wanted to move the museum downtown. And she wanted to stay there. As you know, her grandmother, Esther Gordy, is the one that started in 1997. And so we just collaborated and said, you know what, we need to have something in our own community for many, many reasons, because it's got tremendous great history. But also, we want to make certain that we got the people in the community has some hope. That's a kind of depressed area, in that area, economically depressed. And to be honest with you, you know, I had some very, very fond memories. I lived about a mile and a half from there, as you were also.
We all grew up in that same area.
That same area, and we knew how it was back in the day, and right now it's really, really challenged.
Yeah.
So we decided that we're going to go out and try to see if we can expand where we're at. And we've been very, very successful in acquiring the land. Been working with Henry Ford, been working with the West Grand Boulevard Collaborative. So it seems as if it's coming together.
Yeah, I heard just a day after I read the article from some people over there that the gentleman who owns the Lee Plaza, have you heard this is going to be making an announcement pretty soon?
I talked to him. Matter of fact,
Right.
it's ironic. We stayed across the street from each other
Okay.
on Pacific. Craig Sadler, who had moved to Los Angeles some 30, 40 years ago, is coming back to try to help out. But I did not know about the announcement,
Yeah.
but I did know that he was.
I've always been amazed how they got that bronze roof off of there and nobody got caught.
Yeah,
Isn't
you
that
remember,
something?
you remember that one?
Please, man, it was there for years, and just maybe, 5 or 6 years ago, one night, boom, gone.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have a question, please feel free.
Why did they want to move the museum?
Well, yeah, you know, the museum, especially the Motown Museum, more people from around the world come to see the Motown Museum than any museum that we have. It's the number one a place for people when they come from out of the country to see. So it's a draw. Even as in its current state, 2 houses, they have over 7,000 people come a month. And it would be more of an economic hub for those that reside downtown.
Is that y'all going to put all the money into the whole street, or?
Right now, we bought up about 10 houses on the north side and south side back to Ferry Park. So we're going to develop that area. But the whole goal is not just to develop the museum, is to have a Motown district. You know, you got Courtown, you got Downtown, you got Midtown, you got all these other towns. Why not us having a Motown district? You know, so that's really what the goal is.
Makes all the sense in the world. I was telling them earlier, I went to Europe this past year, and everywhere I went, if I was in Iceland, when I saw that I was from Detroit, the first thing they said was Motown. And we really need to use that as a catalyst.
But you know that former Motown stars like Edward Starr and Jimmy Ruffin, they made a lot of money in Europe. They stayed over there. You know, there's no question.
Well, that's a whole nother issue. The performers' rights is an issue, and you know we don't want to get too political. But that's one of the things I wanted to bring out because Jimmy has done an awful lot in this city. He doesn't tout what he does, but he does it. Those baseball fields, you want to talk about those? I mean, you put one on the east side, one on the west side, right?
Yes. I mean, I remember that as a teenager, you know, in the city of Detroit, you know, playing baseball, we used to go to different areas at that time, especially the little leaguers. You had decent fields, but you didn't have the best fields. But we used to go to the suburbs, and we used to go to Canada and play against them. And I never forget playing under the lights for the first time when I was 12 years old. You know, I was in amazement.
Right.
And so
Did you play for the West Side? Who did you play for?
I played for the Mohawks. I
played West Side.
Jimmy,
yeah.
Do you think these new baseball fields gonna bring black kids back into baseball? Because that was my favorite sport growing up, and now it's, you know, it's other sports.
Did you play?
Yeah, I played.
Where did you play?
I played.
Boy?
I was a catcher.
Oh,
You
okay.
didn't. See, you'd have been on first base. That's where we. That's where we put the big guys at.
Not only did I play,
you was a
but
pitcher or first baseman.
Hey, not only did I
you
play,
couldn't move.
but in 1966, I hit a
Yeah,
double
right.
to win the West Side Championship with the
Yeah, right.
Club. I play sports, man. I'm
Okay.
just messing with you, Adolph.
Yeah, well, mess with me.
Because they told me you were a nerd in high school. So
Yeah,
I mean,
but you know what? One nerd that we won the state
that's why he's a fighter
championship.
now. He got picked on so much.
I didn't get picked on.
Tiffany, you got a question?
I do have a question.
Sure.
Actually, I live over near Bobian Park, and I was wondering if there's any plans in that area because I have a young son, and I would love to get him involved in some of those programs.
Well, right, not in that exact area. We're trying to go. Bobian Park is over off of Wyoming, right?
Yeah, it's off of
Okay.
Wyoming.
No, not a baseball park, but we're working with. Boy, I knew her name is going to slip me. She's we're helping her redo Tyndall.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm not, boy. It'll come to me.
Don't worry
in a minute.
about it. That's just blood. That's blood flow, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna keep the name?
Yes,
Tyndall.
his name gonna stay Tyndall. Matter of fact, November the 4th, there will be a ribbon cutting. It's not our project. We partner with them to do it. We put probably about $125,000 in it. We did the gym. Boy, she's gonna kill me for not remembering
Well,
her name.
let me do this because before I forget, and I should have said this from the very
Mariah,
Mariah,
thank
there
you.
you go. They got you. And that
Thank
young
you.
lady over there has a wonderful center. That's Maggie.
Yes, I know, yes.
Yeah, her place caught on fire. She had head start in there. They were underinsured and left her building basically unable to be used. But let me just say, you're talking about all the things you've done. The reason that this place looks the way it does today, the Sheffield Center has been remodeled because Jimmy has blessed us either supporting our concert with Bays, our dinner. I mean, he's been a big supporter of us for a long time. So let's give him a big hand because we're here enjoying this facility. And I know that Jimmy has fondness for my dad. He helped us celebrate his 100th birthday. This is an outgrowth of the money we raised for that.
And you know what? Before he get away, I just want to say thank you for your contribution to the Tony Waters and Ken Water scholarship up at Oakland University. First black professor up there that has a scholarship.
Yeah. And we have security for you on the way out so people won't be hitting on you on the way out.
No.
But Jimmy's a big black philanthropist. He
Let
really
me
is.
just say this. First, I want to give thanks and honor to God.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not my own personal money. I've been really, really blessed to be put in a position and during the position I have, and the authority I have to be able to give it to help people that on the ground floor that just actually have done an excellent job, just try to help out and try to help the community out. So I just want to give honor and thanks to God for that.
We got a lot of change in leadership. You're going to be retiring soon. My good friend L. Garrett is leaving the week after the election. In fact, we're doing something to Aspen on the 3rd with Reverend Sharpton to say goodbye to him. I know the fight for blacks and union leadership. Where are we going to be when you guys are gone or when L and people like that leave?
Well, I think somebody always steps up. I just have faith that it always happens. I know that this is not the first time we had a change of leadership, in particular black leadership. I remember the time when your dad and Buddy Battle and Mark Stepp and Nelson Jack Edwards, Marcellus Ivory, everybody said the same thing, but I think it's always another Horace Sheffield, or Buddy Battle, or maybe even a Jimmy Settles in the wing that would rise. We just need opportunity. And really, I just see a decrease of opportunity, not a lack of leadership moving within the UAW.
And what about last question? I'm sorry to dominate the conversation. The unions have to grow. We know they've been saddled in Michigan with not being able to get dues out of people's checks, but yet have to represent them. Where's our growth going to come from, Jimmy, when people in Michigan are polled and asked about right to work, and they think that means that they have a right to a job?
Well, I think our growth will come when we start getting people jobs. You look right here in the city of Detroit, I really appreciate the job that we're doing now. But I know when I go up and down Woodward and I go down the boulevard, all the main arteries and I see all this construction going on, I don't see a lot of people look like me. And you know what, and part of the reason is, and I know because we deal with this when we go to corporations and we bring out these issues, they come to us and say, all right, we need 15 heavy equipment operators, provide them. We need 25, 100 bricklayers, provide them. And to be honest with you, we don't have them. We got to train our youth into these jobs out of today. Now, as you know, it used to be a time that was what we did. Our school system trained us to get in these jobs. I know when I came out of high school, I could be a tradesman. I could be anything that I wanted to do because there were schools to do that. That's not here today. Yeah. And we're in a position right now, TLC, that's what really made TLC. And be honest with you, that's the conversation me and you are having now. Right. And this is why we're back in this community, because we need to do this to get jobs. Once we get jobs, I don't worry about the growth of the union. But we need to get jobs. We need to get good paying jobs. We're in a position now where they build bridges and everything else. And that we're going to sit by and just be bystanders and complain about it if, in fact, people like us don't get out and try to do something to train our own people. So, I know that's not what your question is,
no,
but that's what I'm here for. Yeah. I think that we got to join more in ours.
From doing things that are more relevant. We still got grits, salmon croquettes, and biscuits right on the corner of Grand River, Wyoming. Come on by and join our live broadcast. We're going to be here today until 12 noon. Make some noise.
OGL with Sheffield, with Sheffield, with Sheffield.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Gunter with the Regional Transit Authority for Southeast Michigan. I'm the Deputy CEO and Chief Operating Officer, and I'm on the line with Reverend Horace Sheffield.
OGL with Sheffield, with Sheffield, with Sheffield.
One look at you, and I know it's gonna be.
Come on, y'all, help me sing it.
A lovely day.
Your bad
Come on, y'all, Bill Withers.
Go ahead with your bad.
He should have felt like that before he got in trouble with that woman. He ain't been the same since he slapped her. Yeah, Denise Nichols, man. He got in a lot of trouble messing with Denise Nichols, man. I'm about to put him in room 222 in the corner. Get in the closet. We got my buddy Ishmael Terry, who's no stranger to political life in the city of Detroit.
Yes.
And Ishmael, you're doing something to bless folks who have lymphoma.
Yeah, so All for One, as you know, that's our agency. All for One is a social service agency, and we've been in business for 11 years. And so within that, we find partnerships throughout the state that means something to everyone. So one of the things that we did was we teamed up with Lymphoma Foundation Research and Foundation to talk about the issue of Hodgkin and non-Hodgkin's disease. In 2000, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, cancer and lymphoma. And so within that time period, I had an opportunity to fight it tooth and nail and won. And beating the cancer, been 16 years in remission, it actually started my journey on who I am today. And so with that,
so I never knew that about you, Ishmael.
yeah, you know, I kept that under wraps because, you know, I didn't want people to feel any kind of pity or any other things about me. I wanted you just to respect me and honor what I do.
Well, I mean, first of all, it's commendable that you, having gone through that, now want to help other people who have to deal with it the same. You know, if we could get more people who've had to endure affliction, try to abate affliction, there'd be less affliction. But most people get blessed and going about their business.
Well, you know, one of the things that was the biggest issue, one of the bigger issues were that the misnomer was cancer, like this Hodgkin's disease, it's not a prostate cancer or breast cancer. So when you say you have Hodgkin's disease, people be like, what is that?
Right.
Over 6 to 10% of the population has been afflicted with this cancer, this typical cancer.
Right.
It kills over 80% of the African American as well as Caucasian Americans. This is a diagnosis that if anyone, all you need to do is do like what they teach you about self-examination for breast cancer. You feel lumps. Lymphoma is nothing but cells, and we all have them from our neck all the way down to our knees. And so you're supposed to self-examine. When one cell get affected, then millions of them come into place, and that's how the lymphoma cell or the Hodgkin or the non-Hodgkin.
And by the way, not to cut you off, but I mean, there are many people who know, and folks, certainly my church knows that since November 18th of last year, I've had 5 surgeries myself.
Right.
I'm a cancer survivor. I love pink now. Gotcha. I got done with one form of cancer and then only discovered that I had these huge tumors in my throat.
Right.
Couldn't preach, couldn't sing. And people say, you sing all day now. I mean, I'm glad to have my voice back.
Right.
And it's really strange because had I not had the other cancer and had the operation where they went down my throat, I would have never known that I had those tumors in my throat.
That's true.
And it's a strange way for God to show you something's wrong. I would prefer that I coughed and, you know, and figured it out than to have the surgery. But look, what do you want people to do? I know you want people to be more aware of it.
Correct. So what we're going to be doing is going down to the mayor's office and to state legislators and all to discuss about lymphoma cancer. And so what this is going to do is going to take in precedent about our lives and what we eat and what we consume. No more HMOs, no more of the urban farming, because urban farming is grown through our lead grounds. So we're killing ourselves slowly. And these are the things that happen. I was an athlete. I was playing basketball for Eastern Michigan University and on my way to Italy to be drafted to play in basketball. And when I found out that I had the cancer, I had a lump in my neck. I didn't even know. I was old school. If it didn't bother me, I didn't bother it. So when my sister, who's a nurse practitioner, told me to go to the emergency, all they gave me was antibiotics. And all I did was shrink it down by a centimeter. If I didn't have the great insurance that I had and went to the ears and nose and throat doctor to St. Joe's, I wouldn't have known I had cancer. And then I just had found out that I was going to be a dad of twins. So when I found that out, I cried a little bit, but then I said, you in the wrong body, dude. You definitely in the wrong body. And so I was like, I'm from Detroit, baby. And we about to fight this tooth and nail. And so from 12th and Linwood and all of those areas in Dexter, that's where I grew up in. So I used that mentality to grow who I am today. And so I fought it. I won 16 years in remission, seeing my kids grow up, have my own business, been a political figure, as you know, in this city and throughout the state, and had an opportunity to work in the White House as the Midwest Regional Director.
Man, I know all about who you are, brother.
You know, so I've been truly blessed.
I didn't know you were a basketball player.
Oh, yeah.
Why didn't you speak up when we talking about doing this?
Because I'm about to reach out to my
connects. Because I
don't want no one-on-one with me,
Valley State. I played semi-pro basketball.
Okay.
You know who taught me how to play ball?
Who?
Lindell Reason.
Oh, I ain't worried about that.
Number 1 draft choice from the Denver Nuggets.
So?
I'm just saying, man. I still post up, baby.
This old friendship. I know you don't want none of this.
But Doc, you don't want some of this.
We'll be belly bumping all day.
And you give some of this, you'll be back to the doctor trying to figure out what's wrong. I thought I was in remission. No, you in transmission.
Don't get dunked on. Don't get dunked on.
So how people reach you, man? And we want to make certain that we
so they can call our
By
office.
the way, let me just say this.
Yes.
That I had prostate cancer, right?
Oh.
And I have to use this as an opportunity because I go to the doctor regularly. My PSA was normal. I've had people tell me, oh, that's not possible. My PSA was normal. Right. I had some problems with my urination, so my doctor did the manual examination, which most black men loathe.
Right.
But I had it done. He felt something abnormal. Then I had this biopsy, which is, I mean, you don't want to go through this biopsy that they do.
Man.
The first time they couldn't find anything, it was ASAP. I got a black doctor, right? Mm-hmm. So my black doctor said, well, what is that? I said, what does ASAP mean? He said, well, you go to the neighborhood to buy sex, but you find drugs. You know, if one's there, the other's there. So I came back 2 months later, they redid it, and behold, they found it. Okay. Even still, my PSA was normal. Now they have a test where when they find it, they can tell you whether or not it's aggressive, non-aggressive, etc. So I'm grateful for that, and then that's how I found out about my throat. But I'm just saying to you that people in our community do not go and check stuff out.
No.
The things that they can survive, that if they simply would have it, you know, diagnosed early, they'd be fine.
True. And so that's why I say about self-examination. I plead with all of you. Take a time to self-examine your own body.
Yep.
Because you only got one body.
Yep.
And so
I got 30 seconds, by the way. Tell me 30 seconds.
So please contact us at All for One at 313-442-3604.
OTL with Sheffield, with Sheffield, with Sheffield.
It's crying, crying. Lonely teardrops. My pillow never dry. Lonely teardrops.
All right, that's some Jackie Wilson. We give it up for Jackie Wilson. Oh, y'all kind of weak with that noise today. Give it up for Jackie Wilson. That's his daughter right there, Brenda Wilson. Looks just like her father. And how many of y'all know that Berry Gordy originally wrote for Jackie Wilson, and his fame that he ultimately took into Motown began with such things as writing for Jackie Wilson. That's how he got the bug.
Well, when I was a kid, we lived out in Royal Oak Township, and Jackie Wilson used to come by our house when I was a little boy. So he was the man.
He was the man.
Yeah, he could dance, too.
Is that why you had that do back in high school?
Yeah, I had a do.
All right, we're blessed to have Gretchen Whitman with us this morning, and this young lady here wants to have the pleasure and honor of serving as governor for the state of Michigan, and we certainly commend her for coming and to be a part of our show. I didn't know until recently that your dad was Dick Whitmer, and I don't know if he remembers this, but I had two young men that wore pilots uniforms from the Marines. One of them's name was Drew Brown, the other was Montel Williams, and they were called the Dream Team. And Blue Cross gave me $15,000. I brought them down to his office, George Francis, and we took them to Denby High School, Northern High School. We took them to the schools where the kids needed to hear that message of success. In fact, a portion of what was done at Denby was actually on 60 Minutes when they did a profile on them, and it was because Blue Cross Blue Shield sponsored. Let's give it up for Dick Whitmer and the wonderful work he did in Detroit. The reason Blue Cross Blue Shield is still in Detroit and expanded its footprints is because of him. Yep. All right, so that's your dad. I got to go through that too. You know, I got a dad that everybody talks about. My daddy, my daddy. That's him over there. And every time I look over there, it was like he's looking at me to make certain I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, that's good. I'd never put a picture that large of my dad up.
Hey, now, we know, most people should know that, and this is me talking, not you, but for people of color, the only difference between Michigan and Mississippi in 1954 and 2016 is that they're spelled differently. That's what I'm telling folks. I'm speaking in Muskegon next Friday for the Democratic event, and I just don't understand people who aren't fired up, who don't feel that we've got to change the entire political topography in the state of Michigan.
I mean, I think that's a very apt observation. You know, it's very real. We've got a tale of two Michigans going on here. A lot of people are celebrating. There are some successes to celebrate, and it's good to acknowledge it, but you can't solely focus on that and stop really understanding the challenges a lot of people in the state continue to face, whether it's kids in the Detroit public schools or it's families in Flint who are forced to use their bottled water for everything they do. I mean, it's unimaginable in 2016 in the richest country in the world, in the state of Michigan, where we've got 20% of the world's fresh water. We got a city that has been poisoned, that has to use bottled water every day for every single thing that they do. And it's unconscionable. And we got to keep talking about that. We got to keep the focus on that. And we got to insist that our leaders are thinking about that and solving those problems for the people of the state.
Well, the reason I invited you here today, and it's no secret, I know we got union folks and certain union people pulling for certain people. It's no secret that I support you. I'm getting involved early in this quest. I think you bring a fresh voice and fresh face to Michigan's governor's race. I think people, though, need to get to know you. I know about you. I contacted you, reached out to you, because one of the quandaries that I've had is who's going to run for governor. The people that I'm hearing about, when you talk about, they don't excite me or the stuff they talk about with Hillary, that's certainly true. I mean, there's nothing coming from Flint that will resonate in Detroit, but there's something coming from Whitmer that will light up this whole state. So tell us, about you. I think people need to get to know you. This is your opportunity for these people here. All of these people here, by the way, are very active. Everybody that comes to these meetings have their own organizations, their own constituent groups, and they carry that message.
Michigan is a state, we've got issues to confront on every level for every walk of life, that's for sure. And when we're talking about senior citizens and being displaced and not having affordable housing, that's something that impacts everyone in the community if we don't tackle that, but help seniors who are in the midst of looking at that crisis immediately. And so it's got to be a priority. We need leadership who's going to get in and understand what people are really confronting so that we're making knowledgeable decisions about how we go about helping people. We can't rely, it's wonderful that there are so many activists in our communities and churches and organizations that are reaching out, but there's a real question here about what does government do? And I believe that one of the most important things we need to do is protect people and educate people, that those are the two most fundamental things that we as a state, as a community need to see out of our government. And it sounds like we've got a lot of work to do from the issues that the callers raised.
I'm supporting Gretchen Whitmer for governor of the state of Michigan. We got to get her elected, and we got to do the right thing. We get her out there early so the mayor will stay right here in the city of Detroit.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank
Gretchen
you all.
Whitmer for governor.
Detroit, Sheffield is one and the same. Dig a little deeper, see how he got his name. People in Detroit already know nobody mess with the Sheffield, though. Detroit, Sheffield is one and the same. Dig a little deeper, see how he got his name. People in Detroit already know nobody mess with the Sheffield, though.
OTL with Sheffield. OTL with Sheffield. OTL with Sheffield.